We're going to call the regular meeting of the Midway ISD Board for the month of February to order. Appreciate everybody being here this evening. We got all board members present and some new guy sitting next to me.
I'm present.
For those of you who have not had an opportunity to meet Dr. Chris Allen, I am pleased that he is sitting in the seat. I know the rest of the board is equally pleased. We're delighted to have him as our new superintendent, and this is his first official board meeting
Yes, sir.
as the superintendent.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
We have the pledge after we call to order. Who's doing our pledge tonight?
Yes.
All right, I don't know who that is, but I'm gonna let somebody introduce those folks.
Student of the Year nominees. Please stand. We're waiting for one more speaker. Make it, Mr. Patrick? You made that. Okay. We have one more coming in. These students represent Woodway Elementary. These are three of our Student of the Year nominees, and we are missing just one more. We have Lucy Rutherford, Brighton Boyd, Leela Swartz, and Jess Baker are our four Student of the Year nominees. Our Student of the Year this year is Brighton Boyd, and we got to announce her this last week, and we're so proud of all four of our students, and they have done a great job so far this year for us as the nominees. They got to tour around Dr. Allen a couple weeks ago and show them our campus, and got to show around our board member, Mr. Alford, as well. And so they just done a really great job representing Woodway well. So I think they're going to have a great time tonight, showing y'all what we've done.
This is our check for 103. We got to earn $1 and get to participate in fun activities. And yeah,
So how much did we raise?
we raised $2,152.
What does Hunger Free do for our district? What do we raise money for? Right, go ahead.
There he is.
There he is.
Yay.
He's got the answer. All right. Yeah.
So every year we have a hunger free week where we pay $1 and we get to do something fun every day.
Good, and so this year we raised $2,152, which will all go back to the district, which provides those meals and bags for the weekends for the students, and so that was really fun. We also got to have a presentation from our foodies group, which is our club at the high school, about how important it is to feed those in our district, right in our community, that might need some extra food and extra fun. So this is going straight from your free, so thank y'all very much.
Thank y'all very much. That was excellent, and congratulations on an outstanding fundraising effort for Hunger Free. Next up, as we usually do, recognitions, and we have a number of recognitions tonight. Got some outstanding folks here, and without further ado, I know Mr. Green is going to assist, and Dr. Allen, is that you?
Ms. Smith is up to talk about the National Cyber Scholarship finalists. Is that what we're, yes, that's it. All right.
Good evening, board members and all of our lovely guests this evening. 11 Midway High School students have been named national finalists and scholars by the National Cyber Scholarship Foundation for their top scores in a challenging online cybersecurity training program during the 2021-2022 school year. Out of over 45,000 students nationwide who initially sought to qualify for a national cyber scholarship, Midway's 4 scholars are among the 2% who met the requirements. In recognition of their achievement, each scholar earned a scholarship valued at over $3,000 to participate in the Cyber Foundations Academy, a multi-week cybersecurity online education program. Additionally, Midway's 7 finalists are among the top 5% of the highest scoring students in the country who completed the NCSF scholarship application. Our faculty sponsor is Ms. Susan Jones, and Mrs. Jones, if you'll come up here. And we're going to go through and announce our scholars. Our first 2 are Caleb Pruitt and Mark White, and they are both graduates of the class of 2022, so they may not be here this evening. Then we have Jay Patel and Ethan Bowles. And then our finalist, Ariel Wong. Next is Priya West, Samantha Daniel, Anthony Espinosa, Esther Kim, Jackson Lee, and last is Sophia Mitchell Flores. And congratulations to all of you. And as soon as you get your picture, you're going to be able to head back to your seats. And Ms. Jones, just hang tight. You can stay. Everybody else, you're good to go. Congratulations, guys. The Cyber Patriot National Youth Cyber Defense Competition is the nation's largest cyber defense competition that puts students in charge of securing virtual networks by finding and fixing cybersecurity vulnerabilities. This year, 2 Midway High School teams qualified to compete in the national semifinal round of the competition. MHS initially entered 8 teams from computer science classes and 2 from JROTC. In this year's Cyber Patriot competition. Based on preliminary round scores, teams are placed in one of 3 state-level competition tiers, silver, gold, or platinum. This is the first year every Midway team competed in the gold tier or higher at state, with 2 teams earning a spot in the platinum tier. The top 25% of each state tier advances to the national semifinals, and of the Midway teams, 2 gold tier teams were among the nationally qualifying group. Congratulations to Midway's national semifinalist teams. And Zachary Montgomery was a December of 2022 graduate. Is he here with us? Zachary. And then Cole Baldwin. Colin Jones. Leah Williams. Zach Williams. And the all-sophomore team of Samantha Daniel, Lillian Goodman, Dante Griffin, and Jackson Lee. Congratulations. Thank you. And once again, Ms. Jones, if you'll stay, and students, you guys are good to go. It's Ms. Jones's night, right? So she does a lot of hard work for this program. So she also worked with our students in the Congressional App Challenge, and Midway High School freshman Stephanie Starks has been named runner-up in the 2022 Congressional App Challenge in Texas's 17th Congressional District. So that's hot. So Stephanie began designing her app called Magic Plants, which shows people how to take care of their plants for an assignment in a Project Lead the Way computer science course at Midway High School. After she turned in her assignment, she took initiative and continued building out her ideas for the app on her own time, completing the majority of the work for her submission outside of school. The Congressional App Challenge is hosted annually by members of the U.S. House of Representatives in districts across the country with the goal of encouraging students to learn to code and inspiring them to pursue careers in computer science. This year's competition set the record for the most apps submitted, with 9,011 students registering to participate in the nationwide competition. So Stephanie, if you're here with us this evening, will you come on up? All right, thank you. Thanks, Ms. Jones. And the last group that I get to talk about tonight is very special. The Midway High School Choir Program is celebrating singers who have been selected for the prestigious Texas All-State Choir. 8 MHS choir students were chosen to receive All-State honors from a pool of over 70,000 applicants. All-State is the highest honor a Texas music student can receive, and the selection process is incredibly competitive. Only the top 2.6% of musicians who initially audition become members of this elite group. And tonight we're going to congratulate our outstanding musicians. And the first is Madeline Denman, and she's a sophomore. She made third chair soprano 1, All-State Mixed Choir. Next up is Madeline Greener, and she's a senior, first chair soprano 2, All-State Mixed Choir. Next is Alyssa Ayers, and she's a senior, first chair alto 1, All-State Mixed Choir. Sam Conaway, sophomore, second chair tenor 1, All-State Mixed Choir. Noah Doss, senior, second chair tenor 2, All-State Mixed Choir. Asher Beck, sophomore, third chair tenor 2, All-State Mixed Choir. Wyatt Summers, he's a senior, and second chair bass 1, All-State Tenor Bass Choir. And last is Jackson Owen, sophomore, second chair bass 2, All-State Tenor Bass Choir. It's not the first time some of these students have earned this impressive honor. This is the third year Madeline Greener has been selected for All-State Choir, and the second year for Sam Conaway, Asher Beck, and Wyatt Summers. This incredible accomplishment is a testament to the hard work and dedication of these talented students, as well as the guidance of the MHS choral directors, Jeff Rice, Jennifer Rice, and Caleb Overstreet, and then also a host of private instructors. But if y'all will come on up to the front. And congratulations to this group, and you may be seated. And then I would like to welcome to the podium Dr. Ashley Knutson, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, at this time.
I am so honored to be able to introduce this next recognition. Midway High School Honors Biology teacher Amy Smith has been named the 2023 award winner for Outstanding Mentor Teacher by the South Central Area Network for Professional Development Schools. This regional honor recognizes exceptional educators who share a dedication to the field of teaching and the partnership between institutions of higher education and local schools. Ms. Smith has been an educator for 22 years, 19 at Midway High School, and has been instrumental in developing and sustaining a collaborative partnership between the high school and Baylor University School of Education. She has hosted 13 Baylor interns in full-year internships, 1 semester interns, as well as teaching associates over the course of her 16 years as a mentor teacher at Midway High School. She is also the lead teacher for the biology professional learning community and has served on the Midway High School Professional Development School steering committee for the last 5 years. She and I also go way back to college at Baylor together, so I'm really excited to be able to recognize her. Come on up, Ms. Smith.
Oh, she said to bring my award.
There you go, bring it, yeah. Congratulations. And now Dr. Erin Pena will come up and recognize our next award.
Thank you, Dr. Knutson. And this is the exciting part. Got some really great news. The Niche Best Schools and District Rankings. So niche.com assessed thousands of public schools in Texas to determine the highest achieving school districts along with top performing elementary, middle, and high schools in their 2023 rankings. Midway ISD received high praise as the number 15 best school district in Texas, with an overall grade of A+. Additionally, Midway ISD was also ranked as the number 1 best school district in McLennan County and the Waco area for the 6th year in a row, and is among the top 3% of school districts in America. Out of 1,018 school districts ranked in Texas, Midway ISD is the only McLennan County district in the top 100. Additionally, Spring Valley Elementary is ranked as the number 1 best public elementary school in McLennan County and the Waco area. So congratulations, Principal Cappy Edwards. Come on up. As she's making her way also, along with her, was Spring Valley, South Bosque, Woodway, and Castleman Creek Elementary Schools. They are among the top 10% statewide of nearly 4,600 public elementary schools ranked in Texas. So congratulations to Principals Sherry Burns, Angela Kirkpatrick, and Clint Glazman. So if you're here, come on up. And we're not done. River Valley Middle School and Midway Middle School both ranked in the top 7% of 2,212 public middle schools in Texas. River Valley is also ranked as the number 1 best public middle school in McLennan County and the Waco area. Congratulations to River Valley Principal Paul Ophil and Midway Middle School Principal Jay Fisher. We're not done. Midway High School is ranked number 1 in the Waco area and McLennan County as McLennan County's highest public high school, and is among the top 5% of 1,808 high schools ranked in Texas. Congratulations, Principal Allison Smith. The Best Schools rankings are based on a rigorous analysis of key statistics and millions of reviews from students and parents using data from the U.S. Department of Education. Ranking factors include state test scores, college readiness, graduation rates, SAT and ACT scores, teacher quality, which speaks to the high caliber of the students and staff we have here at Midway ISD. Congratulations.
To stay, it's an open meeting, but if you've got better things to do this February evening, we understand and appreciate your attendance tonight.
Still gonna do it, yes, sir. Okay, so for our January 31st financial report, there's a few items I'd like to draw your attention to. First off is on page 3 of the financial report. If you'll look there, so page 3 is where I present our month-end cash balances, and it's pretty common pattern there, depending on the time of year, where cash balances increase. Of course, January, February, we get our tax payments in. But at the bottom of that page is a chart that I don't draw a lot of attention to typically. However, I wanted to point out a couple of things. So there's, based on TEA's calculations, they have what's called the legislative payment estimate and the district payment earned. So that's the LPE and DPE. You see those 2 rows there below that chart. And that's just there. The LPE is based on an estimate of what the state owes our district in state payments for the year, and that's built on year or 2 prior an estimate. So that's just kind of a placeholder. And the DPE is updated throughout the year as TA gathers more information. So this month they got the 22 comptroller values, so they update our data based on that. Later this month they'll get our updated WADA numbers from PEEM Snapshot. But the actual earned revenue line is what the district uses to estimate our state revenue for the year. And you can see that is $8.8 million compared to about $6 million for TEA's numbers. And so actually what happened this month when our comptroller values got updated, it actually threw us into Tier 1 recapture. And as you're probably aware, we haven't paid Tier 1 recapture in several years. But the way that's calculated is it's our property value, comptroller value divided by our WADA. And so that quotient, if it meets a certain threshold, requires us to, if we surpass that threshold, to pay Tier 1 recapture. So tentatively, they have us paying about $200,000 in Tier 1 recapture. Based on our estimates, when our WADA gets updated, we won't pay Tier 1 recapture for this year. But I bring that up a couple reasons. One, just so we're aware, we're really on the cusp of paying Tier 1 recapture. And also kind of on the heels of the announcement of the graphic packaging plant this month. That's $1 billion in value. So if we added $1 billion to our tax roll today, that would throw us in Tier 1 recapture. We'd be paying about $5.5 million back to the state. Our total property values are about $7.4 billion. So $1 billion, just that one, is about 13% increase. Not to mention just our other growth that we're seeing throughout the district. And on the M&O side, as I've explained before, it's kind of revenue neutral. So that's just, we won't get any state money, and we'll have the same amount of total M&O revenue. Now we'd get a little state money. If that happened, we wouldn't get any state money. On the INS side, however, as you're familiar, our strategy in the past has been to keep our INS rate consistent. So we pay down debt early, so when we issue a bond, we have more capacity to issue a bond without changing the tax rate, or this last time in 2020, actually reducing the tax rate by $0.01. So just, for illustrative purposes only, if we issued a bond this fall with $1 billion more in our tax roll, we could issue a $100 million bond without increasing the tax rate. And that's just a couple of years removed from our last bond. So just to kind of show you the effect it has, on our total bond capacity. And I know probably more, of course, growth and things are coming, but that just kind of gives you an idea of how that affects just the complexion of our bond capacity and M&O funding on a big, heavy hitter like that. Any questions on that?
I have a question on this because I've seen this and I've always wondered what does positive and negative mean for us. So I'm looking on the same line and the expected settle up.
Yes.
That happens, I guess, in September, October.
That happens in September,
So
yes.
does the positive number mean we pay the state, or does it mean they pay us? How does that work?
They pay us. So they're paying us
Okay.
on that first line, estimating $6,072,000. But the up-to-date numbers, we're saying we're going to earn 8.8, and so in September they'll settle up.
So the
It's
settle up is
2.7.
positive for
It's
us.
positive.
Last
And
year
we
it was
get-
negative for us. It's positive for us this year.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
got
right.
it.
And we get our state payments 3 months of the year, I believe, September, October, and May. It kind of depends on how much state revenue you earn. I think some districts, if they're heavy on the state revenue, get paid probably every month.
Okay.
Any more questions?
No,
I was excited when I read in the paper about that new company coming to town. Are you going to talk about attendance? I did have a question on attendance.
No, ma'am, what's your question?
I was just curious why the high school dropped so much this month.
Let's see, so on the next page,
If we have a reason in knowing, I know we had 2
oh, I'm
days
sorry, we're
of, you
looking
know,
at
Early graduates or?
school, but that was.
Early graduates?
Yeah.
page 9. Our attendance rate
Well,
is
for
not,
us, no, keep going.
are you looking
There,
at?
that one. Go back. Back.
Oh, our
Right
enrollment?
there. Yes, the enrollment.
Oh, the enrollment, yes. Yes, we did have, I think, record number of early graduates.
Oh, really? Wow, that really made that number drop. Okay.
About
I mean,
40.
the number.
We
did
always
seem
have
more
a
than
drop, but
normally
you're right, it's
has,
a
so-
little more drastic this month than it usually is.
Okay. When we read through the early graduations, it didn't seem like it was that many extra ones.
Hey, real quick on the, back to the graphic packaging guys. Most of you guys might not have realized, but they did a tour of a CTE building. There was a group of them visiting back in the fall, and they were very impressed. I mean, there were a lot of reasons why. I mean, I'm not gonna say that's the reason they chose Waco, but it was, yeah, very, very impressive to them and the kind of community they wanted to be a part of. So
That's awesome.
we helped. We were part of it. Good job, guys.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, is there a sense of when, like how long this is gonna take for that to come to fruition? I mean, is this a 2 or 3
Oh,
year
yeah,
build
it's
out
gonna
before we
take
get-
18, 20.
It's said
some
about
odd
3
months.
years, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
there is this, it's all built around this major piece of machinery that's
Right.
gotta come over from Europe, and it'll take a while. But there'll be a lot of also secondary, economic development things going on around it, so that $1 billion number's the floor. There'll be more than that, so.
Okay, page 12 of the financial report. This is the first month where we have a look at our projection for the 2023 general fund fiscal year. You can see the left-hand column, our adopted budget, almost $3.6 million deficit, projecting to finish at a $3.1 million deficit. We do have higher state revenue and property taxes than budgeted. Our expenses are higher as well. If you remember, we had several items that were budgeted last year, but supply chain issues, we had to book them in the current year because they arrived after September 1. Also in personnel, and our stipends are higher than budgeted. I think based on TASB's recommendations, we kind of estimated based on what they said, ended up being more. Health insurance, I know, is more. I think we just have more participating this year. And also we have another day. So you remember, in August, we have to accrue days for the new school year, we accrue August days into the old fiscal year. We have more this August than the previous year. So that's also part of the reason our personnel costs are higher. I do hope that our property tax number will be a little higher than what I'm showing here. After February, we usually have about 95% of our collections, so we should have a better idea in the next month or two. Any questions on the projection?
So Wesley, for the remainder of our budget year then, based on what you've seen over the last several years, just taking throwing a dart in the dark at the dartboard, I mean, we're down from where we started, 3.1. What do you think we're likely to be at by the time we're done with this budget? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that come into play, but I think each year we sort of see it get better and better and better.
Right, usually the first month is kind of the worst, and it does get better throughout the year. So yeah, of course, lots of factors and variables. I would think we'd be down in the twos, maybe 2.5.
Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking, but you spend a lot more time looking at those numbers than I do. So I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 2 quick questions. One is our attendance, third 6 weeks was down to 94.8%. Do we know why? I mean, is there a?
That was
That's not a
the
COVID
last
situation,
semester.
so-
I mean, the last 6 weeks of the fall
Yeah.
semester. I'm thinking there was a lot of flu going around that time of year,
Okay.
right before the break.
Second question, I know it will come as a shock that people are asking questions about different calendar arrangements, just randomly. I don't know why. Looking at some things that are out there, I see a lot of districts that don't have 75,600 minutes in their calendars. What is the penalty for that? Do we know what the state does if we don't? Is there they dock us 10 grand or 100 grand, or how does that work?
That's a good question. I haven't looked into quantifying exactly what the penalty is.
But that's the nature of that. It would be a financial
Yes,
penalty from the state. Okay.
It's like, it'd be like dropping your attendance percentage.
Okay.
You know, basically kind of a similar effect.
Sorry to ask a random question,
No, it's
not connected to anything real.
Okay, the next page is a budget calendar. So already starting budget season, we've had our staffing meetings with the campuses already in January and February. We'll have our board workshop in June. It is a legislative year, as Mr. Russick mentioned, and so the legislative session will end at the end of May. So we'll kind of have an idea then of what our revenue picture is going to look like. In the last 2 pages of the financial report, speaking of legislative update, just a few items. So if you'll remember in 2019, one of the main impetus, I guess, for House Bill 3 was the drop in the state share of public ed funding, and it was down to 40%. And so people were screaming, that's ridiculous. They need to, increase their percentage of share of public ed funding. So House Bill 3 they passed, pumped more, increased the basic allotment, pumped more state funds into the system. But unfortunately, just 3 years later, you can see there on the M&O and INS together, the state's contribution is 31%. Versus local taxpayers. M&O only, they contribute 36.8% of the total M&O budget comes from state funds. And that comes from lower than normal enrollment growth. So they budget based on estimated enrollment growth. Enrollment growth has slowed this biennium. Also, of course, the property value growth. So just as our illustration earlier, for us in Tier 1, as our values go up, we no longer receive state aid. And that's the case all across the state. And so the state share has dropped drastically. I think it was 50-50 when House Bill 3 was passed. And now so we're back even below where we were in 2019. And so really it's important if you write your legislators or talk to folks that they really need to increase the basic allotment to help increase that funding percentage. A few more items. Our famous golden pennies that we like to talk about. We currently use 5 of possible 8. There's a guaranteed yield on those, and that is going to go up according to stay within the 96th percentile of property wealth districts in the state per WADA. And so that number goes from 98.56 to 126.21 per WADA, and for us that would yield about $1.5 million more dollars. That's just still using our 5 golden pennies. That's just the increase in the guaranteed yield for those golden pennies. That's what's in the budget for this next biennium. There's also a big priority on, of course, property tax relief. There's $15 billion appropriated for that. A combination of reducing our maximum compressed rates and the homestead exemption has been talked about, increasing that. The instructional materials allotment, last biennium, if you'll remember, it was cut in half. And they're going to, that's budgeted, they're going to restore that back to previous levels. So that'll move us from, I believe, about $500,000 to $1.1 million. So that'll be helpful for the next biennium as well. Also, other possibilities that are talked about, increases in the basic allotment, teacher pay incentive, school safety allotment. And they intend to spend $600 million in the current biennium on school safety. Any questions? The legislative update. All right, that's all I got.
CTE edition being noted, it's only appropriate then that we also have our annual update on the CTE program. Jess?
So we're actually going to end with that conversation. I do pride myself on my 5-star tour guide status. So, but for those of you guys that do not know me, my name is Jess Wheeler. I am the Director of College and Career Military Readiness. For the last decade or so, you guys have had the opportunity to listen to Dr. Knutson provide this. I doubt I do it with half the grace she does, but I promise you that I'll bring every bit as much passion as she does to it. CTE has always been in my gut, in my core. It's where I began and what I love to be. So I'm very, very excited to be able to visit with you guys tonight about this. We're going to take this a little bit different direction than has been done in the past, but it's not every year that we build new wings and new buildings and do those different types of pieces. And so we do have a lot of new construction, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how that construction has impacted instruction. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to continue excellence, which Dr. Knutson has spoke to you guys previously about, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some of our CTSOs. I had the opportunity last month to give a presentation at a conference for CTE directors around the state of Texas, and it was about does improving facilities improve instruction? And so if you hear me talk enough times, you'll know that I'm a data-driven guy. And so I started digging into some of the data that's there just so I could provide some different pieces to it, and I found some interesting little nuances. And so in 2020 to 2021, 27 students earned an industry-based certification. But in this past year, in 21-22, we increased that to 252 students earning an industry-based certification. Most of those coming in our Ag Science program. And if you'll remember back to our construction projects, our Ag Science facility was the first one completed. Due to those facility expansions, due to equipment upgrades and different pieces, we were able to certify those students at a much higher clip. And so that's a very, very interesting piece. I really look forward to what 22-23 offers. I already know that we've got quite a few students and teachers engaging in certification tests as we speak. Additionally, just because I was a former associate principal and assistant principal at Midway High School, discipline was always at the forefront of my brain. And so I just kind of dug into some of the discipline data that was there. And I looked at from February 15th of this month to the start of the school year and looked at that same time period from last year. And we have a 74% decrease in CTE discipline referrals that needed assistance. Well, anybody that's been in education long enough knows that students that are engaged don't get in trouble. And it's very interesting. A lot of you guys walked the spaces prior to construction. Many of those spaces were cramped. Many of those spaces didn't have enough equipment to satisfy a class of 22, 24, 25. That's not the case now. And students are engaged at high clips, and it's very, very cool to watch. Speaking of watching, the new open concept that's in the CTE wing really puts it on display. It's interesting. I've talked to a couple of assistant principals at the high school, and you'll see kids, they're gathering around some of these open windows. Of course, you see kids gathering, you automatically go to, oh my gosh, what's happening? There's kids gathering. But you look down and they're outside the robotics lab, and they're watching a 3D printer make something. They're standing outside of a health science lab, or they stop by the fashion design window because she changes those gears or those clothes on a regular basis, and she's put something new up there. Our kitchen or our culinary kitchen will come online soon, and we'll have that on display for students as well. So the big thing is it's on display for people to see everywhere, and we're starting to see some of those benefits. In the past, we utilized we took an elective fair to the middle school campuses, where we took CTE and electives to them to view it. This year we did the opposite of that. We brought those students to Midway High School. We did the same elective fair we've always done, but then we took those students on tours. The AVID teachers and the Panther Pathways teachers that help kids develop their 4-year plans really felt that made a significant difference for students to be able to make those selections, because they had real connection, because they could see what was happening, which was a really cool piece. The high school is kind of summing up their course selection process, and we're already seeing a bump in our advanced level 3 and level 4 courses, and I'll go through that here in just a little bit But that's an interesting piece. And then our reliance on Guama and Guaca is going to start to diminish, not because what anything that Guama and Guaca offer isn't worthwhile. It's that we can offer at Midway High School what Guama and Guaca offer. So we'll be offering the same certifications and the same opportunities. We'll still utilize those from a dual credit. There's still students that are going to be working for dual credit, so we'll still be sending some students, but we won't be sending as many as we'll be able to offer those different aspects to it. So, yep.
To actually increase the number of students doing those advanced level CTE courses, partially because it helps them more, but also don't we get increased WADA multipliers for advanced courses for CTE?
Yes.
Is that right?
So I'll talk about here in just a second about students that go through the completer piece. It's obviously beneficial for students. When we talk about post-secondary opportunities, students that complete programs of study are more successful either in college or in the workforce. And so encouraging students to engage at high levels in that is beneficial to the student. There's certainly some financial opportunities that come with it, but the kids benefit, and that's really the best part of it. This year also saw us, it's a great question. This year saw us bringing 6th grade into the middle schools where we were able to incorporate CTE into that as well. So we're really offering some different exploration opportunities for those. Midway ISD has long had CTE in middle schools. The state's really started to fund different options that are available there for that. But while those schools are looking to dip into middle school, we're looking to diversify our options. So we're really ahead of that ball game and what we're doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about career prep here in a minute, but it's a program that we have brought back, and it has had immense benefits. Much to what Mr. Tullis spoke to just a minute ago. But I already showed that, as I shared, that our IBCs are going to continue to increase. Our CTE student organizations are at all-time highs. Our completer status are improving, which is the advanced courses that I'll talk about here in just a second. But I think most importantly is teacher satisfaction and appreciation is also at an all-time high. We had one teacher that retired. She was going to retire regardless of this year, but no teacher is looking to leave. Those teachers are genuinely excited to be in their spaces. They're genuinely excited to work with kids, and it's a really fantastic thing to watch it. When we had the 8th graders come to campus, I didn't have to walk around and say, hey guys, let's make sure we're doing stuff today. They were just doing stuff today because that's what they were doing and that's what they were supposed to do. And it was fantastic for them to see that kind of piece. And so I talked a little bit about the completer in those pieces. So a completer is a student that has 4 or more credits and 3 or more courses within a program of study. That's a whole lot of words. But it says that a kid gets in a program and they stay in that program throughout, and they reach these advanced 3 and level 4 courses. And I wanted to highlight those programs that are at the highest percentage. Now, this doesn't mean they have the largest numbers, but we want to honor those that are getting kids in their program, and those kids stay. Those kids stay. Engineering is at top. Our teacher in training is number 2. Our applied agricultural engineering is our ag mechanics, metal shop, that type. Animal science is more of our vet pathway, and then that cybersecurity. That's important because as we look here in a second, I'll show a different slide, but it will tie into these IBCs. So our top IBC earners are those in plant science, which is our floral, our accounting and financial service, our health science, our applied agricultural engineering again, and our animal science. And I really expect that the health science and the applied agricultural engineering will grow just because I shared those students coming back from Guama and Guaca in the coming years will allow for that different growth. It does bring about some policy-based challenges, and that's why I shared those last two slides. Traditionally, there are 9 different ways that you can earn CCMR, that a student can earn a CCMR point, a college career military ready point for accountability. In the past, if a student earned an industry-based certification, they were eligible to earn that point. Now, we have a very robust way of earning CCMR through TSI, through AP, through dual credit, and lots of different ways. So we have a well-rounded piece, but there are lots of districts that invest much of their time for earning CCMR through the students earning that industry-based certification. The TEA is changing how they're going to be able to earn that point. And so in 24-25, earning that industry-based certification will still be a part of it, but they'll have to have reached the completer status. And so for lots of districts, that's going to be a big problem. For us, it's not going to be a big deal. We don't have a lot of students that have to earn it that way, because I share we have a lot of different ones. Now, the industry-based certification, also, that list changes every 2 years. This year, they removed 74 off of that list. Our number 2 on that list was our Microsoft Office specialist, and it is now gone. It's off the list. So any time we spent training teachers, the resources that we had invested in that, it goes away. And if a student still needs that, we're still going to certify that kid because it benefits the student. But from the state's perspective, they're changing those lists. And so it becomes difficult as we monitor this. If we get too heavy in one or not, the state could just pull the rug out from under us, and that does complicate that. So I just share that because those policy-based pieces do complicate some of the things on the accountability side. Our CTSOs are absolutely thriving. Our FFA still remains one of the top 2 largest FFA chapters in the state of Texas. Our HOSA program has really rebounded this year and is actually competing at a very high level this weekend, as is BPA. Robotics is still just as strong as it's ever been, as is FCCLA, but this year we added 2 new in Skills USA and Taffy. Skills USA is really there to support our our engineering and our computer science pathways, and then our Taffy is obviously there to support our teacher and training program is there. Both of those teachers are very excited. We got a lot of students that are willing to engage in those. We do have our highest percentage of teachers that are actually engaging in those CTSOs. COVID really hurt our CTSO numbers, but we've really seen that those have finally rebounded to where we were. We've exceeded where we were at prior to COVID, and so it's been fantastic. And so as we do look towards growth opportunities, just seeking to get better, we're going to spend the next year really trying to strengthen our advisory committee opportunities and connections. But the most interesting aspect of this year to me is how we are connecting industry to programs of study. And I joked at the beginning about being a tour guide. I thought at the beginning of last semester that was going to be a significant part of what I did because I was doing it so often. But the clientele changed in about October. The persons that you spoke about that we gave a tour, we've given 3 other to prospective businesses, most of them from outside of the state of Texas. And they came straight to the CTE wing to see what was there and available. But the cool thing is it's also brought in industry partners that we didn't know existed to visit with it. That career prep piece, lots of students are in that program. They want to go work, they want to go do. And a lot serve in the fast food industry and different pieces. But where we're going to start building is through that career prep to attach career prep to industry. We've been visiting with quite a few industry partners that as kids get into the career prep, they're going to be tied to different folks like Holtcat or Train, and the list will go on because there's having lots and lots of folks that are wanting to connect to have students have those meaningful opportunities to learn and engage. So with that, do we have any questions?
I get very excited when you talk about the increase in the career prep relationships with other industries in town. That's exciting, and that'll mean a lot to our kids.
I'll tell you, when I first started, I was, you want to go do these things, but it's often how do we do these things? Me coming into this role with the development of the new building and the publicity that it got, they were coming to us, and it opened more doors than I had anticipated, and it's been very, very cool.
I'd be interested to see a list of those. If you can share those
Sure.
with us at some point, that'd be great. And then you were talking about Guama and Guaca, and you referred to the fact since we have those facilities and the programs now, we're having fewer kids go out to those programs. Can you refresh my memory what our financial responsibility is for Guama and Guaca? Because I think we have to pay something whether we have a base amount, whether we have kids go there or not. And
Each student that goes is $3,800.
Okay. But don't we also contribute just on a regular basis? We don't?
It's just based off.
It's just based on number of
yes, ma'am.
students. Okay, that's good. I thought there was a base. Everybody in the area contributed. Okay.
And our career prep, just to speak to that, looks to double next year. We already have. There's a lot of students, but the clientele is already starting to shift as we brought in some of these industry partners. They've spoken to different folks. Many of them just up and down the road right here. But have attracted many of the students that were already in it or others because we brought some of our engineering, business, and some of our ag science classes over to let them hear that. And so they're already engaging with that. And so there's going to be a lot of different opportunities with it.
Well, Thank you for your enthusiasm and your very good
I appreciate
report.
it. You betcha.
You've certainly been handed, been taken the baton and run with it, and I'm glad to see you come in at such an exciting time. But I did want to acknowledge Dr. Knudsen for such a great handoff and acknowledge that so much of what we have grew under her leadership. And
Absolutely.
they say when someone does their job well, the person who comes in after them can only exceed. So I just wanted to thank Ashley and you both for bringing us to where we are today.
Absolutely.
So with the folks at Guama, we've been a significant partner in that since it started. So have you communicated this stuff with them? And
Yes, yeah.
And tell me what kind of grief I'm going to get from them.
I mean, our numbers aren't initially going to drop significant, but it'll be closer to, I think last year we sent 50, next year we're looking to send somewhere around 25. I mean, they were a little, I don't want to say they were upset by it, but I mean, they understood. I mean, if we can offer those same opportunities, there's lots of schools around, or even in this area, that are doing some of the similar stuff. And they may shift and change models, and we may have to shift and change with or continue to utilize their pieces. But I've visited with both the lead of Guama and Guaca at a recent Region 12 CTE event, so I kind of talked to them about it.
So from my years of being in the space, the industry involvement at Guama is probably the best from an industry standpoint of any CTE type program in the area. You know, I would definitely suggest looking at kind of how they do it. Yeah, it is a little bit challenging for businesses because there's only so much time they have to invest in different areas. So it was nice having one place where, at least for industries that needed what Guama and Guaca had to offer, where they could invest their time and resources. So anyway, you're just gonna have to think about that because it's a very fractured, we've got 18 school districts in McLennan County, and it gets to be a challenge. I mean, thankfully we're in a workforce situation right now where a lot of businesses are very interested with trying to find any pipeline they can, but it's a good time to go build those relationships. So
appreciate it.
Yep.
I'm really interested in sixth grade. I mean, I know that that's, not something that we're able to do a lot of when sixth grade was an intermediate campus. So I think it's great that we have those opportunities. What do you see in terms of numbers? I mean, I know the elective model is a little different in sixth versus seventh and eighth, but.
It is. Right now, students, we're offering coding and some pre-engineering, different courses that are there. We also added, it's not a CTE course, but there is a Career Connections course there that's really there to allow students to explore it. Both of those numbers are on par for where they are this past year. As we continue to educate and develop models to advise students in that sixth grade level, that was probably a significant challenge. You're talking lots of elementary schools and getting these words and methods out. That's going to improve. But as we look, we're going to start finding different ways. While that supports in the that engineering side and the computer science side, there's going to be opportunities to even stretch further with some of those other pathways as well. And so the state's coming up with new courses that are available. And that's why I say most states or most schools are looking initially to evaluate how can I get a 8th grade class in, where we're going to be looking like, all right,
that down.
let's find ways to get 6. So as new courses come online and become available, we're going to be able to push those in quicker.
Cool. Very good.
Exciting. Thanks, Jess.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jess. All right, buddy. Lest anybody think we're completely done with construction, right?
No, we're not.
No, we're not. But, well, let me start with greetings. Dr. Allen, Mr. Rustick, School Board. Phase 1 of the middle school is almost complete. The one thing that we haven't got finished is there are glass partitions that separate out the collaboration space. And we still don't know when they're going to be shipped. We're hoping that they get here and they get put in during spring break, but they've been ordered way over a year. And this was also something that we had trouble with at Park Hill. We had trouble with it at Chapel Park. It's just these glass partitions seem to be hard to get, but that's all we lack in finishing phase one. Most of the concrete is poured in the cafeteria. We now have 3 floor elevations instead of 5. So that's looking good, and that's going to work out great. Painting has started in the classroom area, and the flooring will start going down sometime in March. So things are moving along really well. The courtyard is going to be totally shut down the first week of April to allow for renovations in those areas. And most of it is shut down now, but we still have a little pathway to let people get in and out of the PAC. Well, we're going to shut that down April 3rd. That'll be totally shut down, and the only entrance into the PAC will be around by the gymnasium or by the dock area. Summer school at the middle school, they're going to enter in and out of the bus lane, so that's worked out. The berm that's closest to the south parking lot entrance, sometime in March you'll see work begin on that. But the one right in front of the school will be tackled this summer when we renovate that parking area in front. And that's why summer school is going to enter in through the bus lane, because the front of the school will be targeted this summer. Plans are being finalized for summer work. We have already contacted Mobile Modular to get in here to help move the portable buildings out. We're going to give us a week to get them emptied, and then they're supposed to come start taking those out. And the furniture, I put on here that the furniture would probably be delivered or ordered by the time of this meeting. There's actually a meeting tomorrow, a virtual meeting tomorrow, to finalize the furniture order. And so that should be ordered by the end of the week. Any questions?
I can't picture that gym entrance to the PAC. Is there handicap access from that end?
Yes, there is a ramp. There is handicap parking back behind that gymnasium, and there's a ramp that goes up that sidewalk with a rail on it. It's between the middle school and the stadium. And we're planning to improve the lighting there too.
Still feel like we're on track for this fall, things to open 100%?
Yes.
Assuming partitions are friends?
I mean, we still, because
Well,
we have
open
some of those
regardless,
that
right?
go into phase 2 also,
Yeah.
that have been ordered for a long time. So, yeah, we'll have school in the whole building, and the portables will be gone, because we have to work on that parking lot this summer also.
Right.
Other questions for Buddy on construction matters? All right, very good. Thank you, Buddy. Consideration items. We have the consent agenda, minutes from our 2 meetings in January, our MHS course catalog for next school year, update 120 for approval, budget amendments, a tweaking to the school calendar, and as alluded to earlier, a number of early graduation requests. Does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Witt,
Second?
second by Ms. Vick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries
I
unanimously.
was going to ask the question, if we don't approve the early graduation request, do we get to keep the average daily attendance?
I don't think we can do that.
Is that not how it works? We don't-
I
we don't get to hold them.
I like the thought, but I don't
We
think
can't
we
hold
can
them
do
hostage that way, okay, well.
We need to act on the professional recommendations.
Yes, there are 2.
Gotcha. Do we have a motion to approve the 2 professional recommendations then?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Vick,
Second.
second by Mr. Alford. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. We need to go into closed session.
Yes, sir.
Why don't we do superintendent's communications and then we'll go into closed session? You good with that, Chris?
Yes, sir. I don't have a whole lot to share that you might put in the category of nuts and bolts. I do want to say that in the last 3 weeks, I've had the opportunity to walk every facility. I'm in the process of meeting with all of the staffs as part of regular faculty meetings, kind of as we speak. I've been to numerous games, events, and functions, and what I will tell you is that the people who work in and lead this district are extraordinary. I know you don't need to be told that, but it's nice to be reminded maybe from someone who has a little bit of an outsider's perspective. The executive leadership team in particular of Wesley and Ashley and Becky and Aaron deserve extraordinary appreciation for the work that they've done during this transition. But y'all are campus principals. When I talk to staffs, one of the first things I always say is how much they love their principal. People don't quit jobs, they quit leaders. And they are loving their campus level leaders. The teachers are passionate about kids. The questions they ask are focused on things we can do to make things for students better. And the things that they want to discuss tend to focus on their visions or ideas for how to continue to move Midway forward as an academic institution, but also as a school district that truly loves kids and wants to make sure that they're doing the best they can by the students and the parents we serve. And my reflection on that is that there's really no way to hear that and to experience it and to see it except with extraordinary grace and humility. To be a part of something that is so much bigger than yourself reminds us of our need to always be thinking about how to be the best stewards we possibly can of a sacred trust between a school district and the parents we serve. And an extraordinary sense of service in relationship to how we conduct our business, always trying to elevate those who are around us, our students, our teachers, our campus leaders, in a way that they constantly feel the support that we want to make sure that they have as they build on the core values and the ethic that has allowed this district to be as strong as it is for so long. The truth is, great schools exist in great communities. And the question we have to ask ourselves as a school district is, what are we doing as stewards of that greatness that we can show the degree to which we want to make sure that we're contributing and managing what we've been blessed with a way that honors the great work that's been done for years in this community. And so it's been a privilege. We have work to do. We have real work to do, but it's exciting, and I can't imagine doing it with a greater bunch of people.
All right, then. Without further ado, 551.074 at 8 o'clock straight up, is that right? We'll go into closed session, hopefully for not very long.
I got the hour for the meeting, it's not closed session.
Yeah, it's close. It's close.